Hello, welcome to the Holiday Homestead. It is a super hot day here. I know it's been chilly the last few days, but today's hot. So I'm gonna water the garden and can tell you about Bailey and Poppy, our livestock guardian dogs. So anyways, let's do this first. So last night, we were out a bit later than planned, and when we came back, our meat turkeys, not all of them, but some of them were sitting on the gate, which is where Tom and Vic, our heritage turkeys, like to sit at night, and they were kind of sitting between Tom and Vic. I'll show you a picture right here. And and it was dark, and we were just afraid of, you know, trying to get them off the gate and then having them go the wrong side of the gate, you know, and because it was dark, we didn't want to make that move. So we left Bailey and Poppy outside because, you know, at least they had some sort of defense if something came to eat them. And so even though I just said in the video yesterday that we were going to bring Bailey and Poppy in to kind of ease their way into being outside full time, we really had no choice. So we had to leave them out, and actually I felt really guilty about that. And even though I know they're like totally ready to be outside full time and they like being outside full time, there's like a part of me that just feels really like guilty and awful because I've never been a dog owner that keeps dogs outside all the time. So I don't know, there's just a little part of me that just feels not right about it. But anyways, there's more to the story. So to continue on with the story, since I'm going to be standing here a minute, because these weeping pussy willows and also this flamingo dappled willow that we have over here, they need a lot of water. I think they need something like 3 or 4 liters a day. So I just stand here and give water. The rest of the night, like, they were barking, and you know, like, that's what they do, you know. And so like we weren't like too worried about it. They would bark and then go quiet, and you know, and we check on them, and then they go barking again and whatever. And anyways, you know, checked on them before I went to bed, and you know, went to bed, and then about 2:30 in the morning, like, all the alarms go off. Like, Bailey and Poppy, like, they're barking like they're facing something down. And if you have a dog, especially a livestock dog, you definitely get to learn the tone of a bark. And like, this tone, you know, we knew that something was seriously wrong. So sprung out of bed and you know, realized that like Bailey's barking at one end of the pen and Poppy's barking at the other end of the pen, and which is weird, but also not good, not a good sign. And as we sprung out of bed, all of a sudden in the night air, there was a loud wolf howl that was like within, I don't know, 30 feet of the house, which is like 30 feet of the pen, right? And, you know, so like we jumped to action and, you know, went out there to scare away this pack of wolves. We were able to scare them away. And Bailey and Poppy had a good rest of the night, but, you know, it really, it's really going to be a really difficult adjustment for me and for Dave to adjust to just leaving them out there alone. And I think, honestly, for the next little while, I think every, you know, little bark or sound, you know, while I'm laying in bed, and if I hear it, I think I'm going to get up and look, because, you know, yes, it is their job to be working out there, but also I would feel truly terrible if something happened to them. And I know that they would die for their livestock, and you know, we got them because we knew that we had wolves out here. The thing is, you know, this is what we knew getting these dogs, is that there's a risk of injury, and you know, I know that they're totally ready to fight if they need to, and they're very powerful dogs, but I don't know. I think I'm struggling with it more than they are. Like, they seem to be totally fine about being out there. There's no complaints. It's not like they're at the gate crying to come in or anything like that. So, you know, they're happy. It just makes me feel a little guilty, that's all. And I worry about them. And I think that worry will go away because, you know, the first few weeks that we left them outside during the day full time, even when we weren't here, I was like terrified that something was going to happen to them. And now, you know, we can leave and go to work and stuff and leave them outside, and you know, nothing happens and they're fine. I guess it's the overnight thing I just feel really guilty about. But I know they'll be okay. We are going to try to bring them in inside tonight, though, as long as we can get the turkeys in, just to give them a break, because, you know, they had a tough night last night, and it's hot, you know, but we're going to try and do it where, like, they're out a few nights, and then they get to come in for a night, and then they're out a few more nights, and they get to come in, because we really don't want them, well, I guess it's more so for us. I don't want to feel like we're just throwing them outside and leaving them and abandoning them if they're not fully ready. So we'll just, we'll bring them in tonight and we'll kind of go from there. That's all we can do. For you gardeners, if you're wondering how much I water a day, on a hot day like this, it is twice a day. On kind of a cooler day, it's once a day. But twice a day is in once in the morning, once late afternoon. Some people would argue about that. I've never burnt plants or anything like that from doing that. The only thing is, you know, if you have a black hose like I do, just feel the water temperature first with your hand before you start watering plants, because sometimes the water's hot, so you just want it to wait till it's cooler water. So just from a quick glance, I can see that I do have some tomatoes that are ready or almost ready. I prefer to pick tomatoes when they're like just starting to turn color and then letting them ripen up inside the house, because that's such a fragile time for tomatoes, because if it suddenly rains or like it gets really hot or really cold, it can kind of change the outcome of the tomatoes. So I look for tomatoes that are like just turning color really slightly. So I'm gonna pick those after I water everything. Maybe some people would say don't water stuff, you know, before you pick your veggies, but I'm cleaning the veggies off. If you didn't know, inconsistent watering is also really bad for tomatoes. So that's why I water twice a day, especially on a day like this, because you never know. Some people will say, oh, that, you know, you only need to water a garden like once a week or once every 2 or 3 days. No, consistency is key, because then if we get a really heavy rain, then it's used to that, because I usually give my whole garden a pretty heavy water, if that makes sense. So, you know, do what works for you. This works for me. I'm not an expert in gardening, but if you have any questions, I'll definitely try to answer them. This is just how I do it, so don't judge me. I'm open to tips, but I've tried a lot of different things, and this style of gardening is like what works for me. So. Okay, my harvesting basket is not down here, sadly, so I'm gonna get a pot and use that to collect my tomatoes. It ain't pretty, but it'll work. It also kind of matches my dress. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna pick my biggest tomatoes first, because when you use a pot like this, you don't want to put all your little tomatoes at the bottom and then the big ones on top, because guess what happens? You have homemade pasta sauce. Anyways, I've been watching these for a while. I have two that look very similar. So this is that's disappointing. I thought it just had the splits from the rain. The camera will focus, but it's got a big hole in it, and it's quite a deep hole. I don't know if you can see inside there, so that's too bad. So that is from too much rain, because we had a lot of rain. So anyways, this goes into the Nova tomato tax. Nova, can you sit? I got a nice tomato for you. Yeah, I do. I got a nice tomato for you. Okay, here, you can have that. She's like, excuse me, I'll just take this somewhere else. Okay, this one's better. So it just started turning. Focus. It's only got a little bit of splitting. This is a very like heritage tomato looking tomato, if that makes sense. So this goes in the pot. Got another tomato that is starting to turn. And we have quite a few there. That's a nice red one. This is part of my yellow tomato. They're called a golden, what are they called? Lemon Boy plus tomato. So no, they're not bad. They're supposed to be that color. What I was saying was something's gotten my tomato plants this year. It's like the vines are just dying off really fast, and I don't know what it is. It's some sort of like blight. And so I don't know, my tomatoes just aren't doing that great. But what I do with them though is, instead of trying to have enough tomatoes ready at the same time to make pasta sauce, because that's what I like to make with it, what I do is I stick them in the freezer in a bag. Then in the wintertime I make pasta sauce, and then when you take them out of the freezer, you put them in a sink of warm water and let them thaw out, and the skin just falls off. So then you can make pasta sauce. You don't have to peel the bloody things. And then you take like a potato masher and like crush those tomatoes down into the pot and like put your other stuff in there, and then you got pasta sauce. It's so easy. I was doing it the old way before, and ever since somebody told me about doing it that way, it has saved me a lot of time. So I got all the big tomatoes. Now I'm going for kind of my medium to small tomatoes. These smaller tomatoes are honestly not so fragile to grow, but I'll pick them in case I end up missing them. These are like I call them mini Romas. I'm not even sure what they are, but they are prolific. I have lots of them. They are easy to pick. And I actually throw them in my pasta sauce, because why not? I do think though it is time for the tomato tax. Nova! Come here, Nova! She probably already went off looking for tomatoes. Okay, sit. Sit. Tomato tax. Nova. Sit. Sit. She doesn't sit very well. Here you go. There you go. Go take your tomato. Any overripe tomatoes I just give to her. So that's why she is the perfect tomato harvesting helper. You can actually smell the tomatoes, so that's why she's hovering close by, because she wouldn't want to miss one. Oh no, they already build on that. That's how she gets the tomato tax. This is why I love my trellis, because you can get it from both sides. Sometimes. Not that many though this year that come through on this side. Okay, I want to show you exactly how much tomatoes I got just in that few minutes. I'm going to take them in the house. I'm going to put them in the freezer and get them ready for sauce. But I want to show you everything that I got. So this bucket's like, you see in comparison with my hands, about half full. I don't know, half a liter of tomatoes basically. Nova, I can't leave that pot on the ground unsupervised. Nova, because she will eat the whole darn thing. Before I end this video, I want to show you my sunflowers, specifically my double sunflower, which I've seen in photos on the internet, but I've never actually had one myself. So I'm going to show you that. I actually just noticed that I have 2 double sunflowers. This is just wild. And this one is actually like taller than me. I'm going to show you up close, but this is wild. Does it mean I have good luck? Should I get a lottery ticket that I got 2 double sunflowers? My other sunflower that's out is a very boring sunflower, so, you know, try not to get too excited. It's quite tall, but it's at the end of its blooming, so I'll show you that. I also really want to show you my lemon queen sunflowers, which are absolutely my favorite. So they're not as big as these Russian mammoth sunflowers, but I like the color more. It's just, I prefer these. They're just a lot more prettier, and they're more of like a cut flower size, but I'm going to show you these. Anyways, if you haven't caught the hint, I love sunflowers, any kind of sunflowers. Little sunflowers, tall sunflowers, I love them. Anyways, let's get these tomatoes up to the house. I'm going to end the video here because I've done a lot of yapping, and you guys are probably sick of it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and kind of my little story about Bailey and Poppy. And, you know, if anything else exciting happens while they're on patrol, I will definitely be letting you know. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!